So we're back up on Pompey Chimes, and look who's here.
Geoffrey.
Sharon and Geoffrey have joined me this weekend. So it's Saturday, and it's a beautiful day outside for once, and they're enjoying the new sofa. So what am I up to this weekend? Well, I'm going to finish this bit of flooring off. I nearly called it something else then. Going to finish this flooring off, and then get our dinette back. So we've got our table back, and behind the cupboard at the front there is our water pump, and our water pump doesn't have an accumulator, so it makes a lot of noise. I can't believe this boat's never had an accumulator in 20 years, but there we go. So that's something else I'm going to be looking at this week as well. So we'll see how we get on. So that's the last bit of flooring done, which I'm very pleased with and pleased about. So the next job really, or the last job for the flooring, is to seal around the edges, just to stop any moisture getting in there and to hide any gaps that might be there. So what I'm going to be using is this silicone sealant here. This one here is called sandstone, and I'm going to be finishing it up using one of these Fuji kits. These are really good. You get loads of different size scrapers in there, and the idea is that you can get into the corners and scrape it out. So once you put your silicone down there, you can just go in and clean it off, and you get different shapes and sizes and stuff like that. It's much better than just trying to run a finger down there. So that's the next job. That's what we'll be up to now. So that's the dinette area all sealed up, come out real nice. Hides a multitude of sins, so if you've got any gaps and stuff like that, it really cleans those up, as you can see. And obviously it creates that weather type barrier as well, in case you get any spilled drinks or anything down there. So that's that bit done. So now I've just got all the flooring down there and all the flooring around there to do, all around the edges. So that's my next job. So after all this time, I finally finished the floor. Wow, I can't believe how it's taken this long. I thought it was going to be done in a weekend. I mean, how far off could I have been? We're currently coming towards the end of January. I started this back in December. I know. Anyhow, the floor is done. So to celebrate, bottle of champers. Here we go. Probably a bit over the top for just finishing a bit of flooring, but it has been my nemesis. I don't know why. It was so hard to get up. The carpet was just an absolute nightmare. But the flooring down was okay. It's a good sound. It's a good sound. But yeah, it's just been a long job that I didn't expect to take this long. I thought by now I would be starting on the kitchen, which is going to be the next job. And fizzy fizz.
Thank you.
So this really is just a bottle of champagne to say, well done, Jason, on doing the floor.
Well done, Jason, on doing the floor.
So, cheers, Shazza.
Cheers, Jason. Thank you very much.
And cheers to you lot for watching. Thank you. And you'll be pleased to know there'll be no more vlogs on flooring. It'll be on something completely different, like kitchens and plumbing and electrical and other bits and pieces that are coming up. So, cheers, everyone. So a nice task for a Sunday morning is to have a play with some plumbing. So at the front of the boat here, we've got our water pump. At the back there is our water tank, that big black thing. And this is our water pump. It's a Jabsco, pretty standard pump by the looks of it. But there's no accumulator. So I had a good look around. See the water pump being fed by this pipe here with a red stopcock on it, and it goes round and back out to the main system. But there's no accumulator, and it makes a hell of a noise, which I'll demonstrate in a minute.
So there's not much room to work in here. But I've bought an accumulator tank, and I'm going to have a go at trying to fit it. So this is what the pump's going to sound like. I'll turn the tap on a little bit and then quite a lot, and you'll hear the different types of what sounds like vibrations. So you kind of get the idea of what that sounds like. It doesn't sound great, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't do the pump any good either. So we're going to be fitting an accumulator tank. So this here is the accumulator. It's basically just a sealed cylinder. Inside there's a bladder, and then you pressurise one side of it with air, and then it acts like an air cushion. So when you get pressure differentials in here, which is connected to our system, it kind of eases it out and stops or helps reduce all that banging and clattering that the pump's making as it's turning on and off. So you just recharge. This is just a normal car valve or push bike valve on the top there. So I'm going to charge this. Now our pump has got a cut-in pressure of 15 psi, and it says on here adjust the air pressure in the tank, this bit here, to 3 psi below the water pump cut-in pressure. So it's going to be 12 psi. So I'm going to set this to 12 psi, just using a normal pump. So I'm just going to use one of these 12 volt emergency car pump things, and yeah, and then try and plumb it into the system. Now it comes with these connectors that go on the end here. They just go on the end like that, and then you get your hose, and then your Jubilee clip over the top of that. I don't particularly like that idea. We've got some 15mm plastic plumbing in there, so I've got myself some Speed Fit, some John Guest Speed Fit, which goes on there as well, and then our pipe will just sit into that hole there, and that'll hold it nice. So let's see how we get on with charging this, and then start fitting it. Being quite a small tank, it loses its pressure quite quickly, so you've got to be quite careful when you're trying to set it. So I just over pressurize it and then bring it back to about 12 psi. Which is there. That's perfect. And then put the dust cap on the top. So the accumulator has been fitted. So it was a bit of a job really, because it's quite hard. I've basically got this little space in here with which to get in and out of, which made it quite difficult, but I've managed to get some plywood in there to mount the accumulator on, and then tapped into the existing pipework that was in there. The existing pipework is this stuff. It's Hepworth. I don't know if it's focusing properly or not, but and it's quite weird. It's not push fit. I thought this was going to be a push fit, but you undo it, and then inside there's kind of this gripping mechanism, and then an O-ring seal inside there, and then when you push it together, it all kind of holds itself together. But so I've used the push fit stuff to replace that. It's all been water tested, and it's no leaks, which is great, obviously. So let's hear what it sounds like. So that's the tap running normally. And that's it at a trickle. So there's none of that juddering at all. When it's just at a trickle, there's no juddering at all. It's absolutely silent. So that's made a hell of a difference. I've also mounted the pump on a bit of neoprene foam. This kind of stuff like this, just thin, but just to isolate it from the floor. So again, that's going to help with any vibrations that it might be causing too. So the previous owners were brilliant, and they kept a complete log of everything they've done to this boat. I've got all the old invoices, all the old manuals and everything. There's 2 whacking great big lever arch files like this, just full of all that information. And here is the invoice for this pump, to which we've just fitted this accumulator for. So hopefully this accumulator will extend its life. Some of you might have also noticed that this big red thing here is actually a bow thruster tube. But our boat doesn't have a bow thruster. So obviously the shell, when it was welded up, they allowed for a bow thruster, but the final specification of the boat didn't have one. So there's a big tube in here that we don't really need. The last thing I've done is just put some insulation over it. I don't know if it makes any difference on a cold water system. Just trying to prevent more burst pipes from frost, I guess. Like I say, I'm not sure if it makes any difference whatsoever. If you know, maybe you can tell me in the comments, but just trying to prevent burst pipes, although I do turn it off at this isolation point in the winter when I'm not on board, because just in case of frozen pipes further through the boat. So that's it for another weekend on Pompey Chimes. Quite pleased with that. Got the floor finished, obviously. It's the last time I'm going to mention the floor. And got the accumulator tank finished. So it's a wet and windy Sunday afternoon up here on Pompey Chimes. So the next jobs to be looking forward to doing is going to be the kitchen. So I'm going to make a start on the worktop. I've got an epoxy resin kit that I'm going to be using to try and make it look a little bit like marble. But that's for a future episode. Signing out for now.